two basic kinds of hypocrites. Hypocrites that are non-Muslims, but are pretending to be Muslim. You could call that a spy, a double agent, whatever you want to call it, right? These are people that may be sitting in the crowd right now. They have ulterior motives. I'll give you an example of a real-time example, just so you know how real this situation is. I was in Chicago not too long ago. And I came from the Arabic, we had an advanced Arabic class during daytimes. So the masjid is basically empty before lower time. And I'm leaving the masjid and this guy pulls up, long beard, turban, green clothes on, slippers, the whole gear, you know? And he pulls up to me at the random guy, blonde, you know, blue eyes, long blonde hair, right? Interesting archetype. He pulls up and he goes, "Aren't you that from YouTube?" And I was like, I'm not sure who you're referring to. Yeah, you give those talks, right? I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's me. And we just started talking, and some brothers were going to take us out to lunch, and he wanted to jump in. And I knew something's up with this guy. You know, and my Arabic tutor also who was with me, he said, "Hada shakhs khatir." This guy's dangerous, just watch out. There's something off about this guy, you know? But the other younger brothers, they're a little more naive, so they said, no, let him tag along. Yeah, you can join us for lunch, great. So he comes for lunch. Not 2 minutes go by, and what happens? He says, yeah, we should be proud to be calling ourselves terrorists. Allah says we terrorize disbelievers. We should take pride in that. And I know already this guy, something's up. He wants these naive teenage boys and these college students to say, yeah. And he's probably wearing a reporter on, something's up, you know. So we try to dismantle his arguments and we say, you know, brother, I don't think you're in the right state of mind. And if you speak like this, we'll have to report you to the authorities. 2 minutes later, he's like, I gotta go, Akhi. I gotta go, you know. And then it so happens, we actually found out later on, yes, and he made mention he was sent by this masjid, he studied under this shaykh and that shaykh. We called those sheikhs. We called the masjid. Is this, you know this person? I have no idea who this guy is. I don't know what you're talking about. Guess what we find out? He was sent by a church group. And they have people like this sent to masajid all over America nowadays. They want to catch people on secret video cameras and tape and whatnot. And he knew who I was too. They know their stuff. They do their homework, you know. And it's not like I'm that famous, but they know. But they do these things, and this is one kind of munafiq. They know they're not Muslim. They're trying to, you know, fit in our ranks and get us to do ridiculous things. And, you know, Muslims should be not naive of these things. We should be cautious and careful and be kind of savvy about what's going on around us also, right? So that's one kind of munafiq. But then there's a second kind of munafiq that's even more dangerous and more scary. You know which kind of munafiq that is? The hypocrite who doesn't even know that he or she is a hypocrite. They don't even know. They don't even realize it. They actually think they're good Muslims. They think so. And this could be any one of us. This second category is more scary because it could apply to any one of us. And this idea was so scary even to the Sahaba. Among the Sahaba are people like Umar bin Khattab, who's guaranteed paradise. But when the names of the hypocrites, it is known that there are certain people that Allah has told the messenger, these are munafiqun. He's worried, is my name in that list or not? You know, he's worried because he understands that there are two different kinds of munafiq. There's the spy who knows he's not Muslim, and there's the one who doesn't even realize. At the end of this ayah, Allah gives us a clue into the second kind of munafiq. They don't even realize it themselves. وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. They have no realization. They have no realization. But then how will someone know that, how will you and I know, first of all, if we are suffering from this disease? And now we will learn in the surah, Allah Azza wa Jalla says very next verse, in their hearts there is a disease. Hypocrisy is a disease. Now if you are sick and I am sick, how are we supposed to know if we're sick unless we know the symptoms? Isn't that true? So the only way to know if you and I have the sickness is to look for the symptoms. Now this surah will give us some symptoms, other surahs will give us even more symptoms. So we should constantly be on the lookout for these things inside of us. When there's a serious disease out in society, like the bird flu or whatever, right, swine flu, you take two farm animals, put a flu next to it, and you come out with a new one, right? So when you do that, and they announce on the news that, you know, if you're sneezing too much, or if you notice a little, you know, redness in your skin or something, go see a physician, you might have a fatal disease or whatever. People start showing up to the doctor even if they're not sick. I think it's a flu. I think I have swine flu. I was scratching myself and it got red, I better go to the ER or something. Because they're terrified this might be that disease. Well, if the Muslim understands that hypocrisy, nifaq, is a serious disease, then they should be looking for those symptoms. And even if they find the slightest sign of that symptom, immediately try to address it. You understand what I'm saying? So when Allah says, فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ, in their hearts there is a disease. This is a heart disease. Seriously, a heart disease. A fatal disease. فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. Then Allah increased them in their disease. May Allah not make us from these unfortunate people. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. And they especially have painful punishment. For disbelievers, Allah said they have great punishment. But then Allah took a step further for hypocrites. He said they have painful punishment. Alam is the meaning of pain. And alim means constantly painful. You know something about pain? If you speak to people who are suffering from a disease that causes them pain, they develop tolerance for that pain. So their tolerance goes up. In other words, if you're suffering the same way every day, the first day it's a lot more painful, the next day it's painful, but not as painful as the day before. By Allah using the word alim, it means the pain is the same all the time. It doesn't go down. They don't develop any tolerance to this pain. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. In other words, this punishment is worse than even the punishment mentioned for the kuffar. Even worse than that. SubhanAllah. This is the punishment of the munafiq. And when we study Quran, we'll see when Allah talks about the punishments of munafiqun, He's the harshest. Even more harsh than He is towards kuffar. Even though He's harsh towards them. Saying they have a great punishment is a terrible thing in and of itself. But He takes the next step with munafiqun.